There
Hi,
we go.
everyone. Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Beth Shakina, and I'm here with my co-host, Andrea Hyland. Welcome. We're here for our live for the Virgo season, and which started yesterday, August 23rd, and runs through September 22nd. Our theme of the month is harvesting aspiration, discernment, and service. Andrew, do you want to say anything before I get into the theme?
Hello to everyone, and I'm feeling really excited about this Virgo season, and I know that you're going to go into the energy of it, so I turn it over to you, Beth. I'll share in a bit.
Okay, great. So one of the things that's often associated with Virgo, there's a lot of talk about like organization and attention to detail, maybe even perfectionism. And so that's just one aspect. We're going to really expand that out as we talk. But in thinking about, as I was preparing and thinking about, sort of organization, I thought since we have some new folks who've been joining us, or you may be tuning in when we put this live on YouTube, just to share a little bit more about what the Energetic Explorations for Evolution Facebook community group is. And we started, Andrea and I had kind of, through our personal and professional explorations together, been talking about creating a group like this for quite some time. And so we opened up at the spring equinox this year, and we're just moving into our 6th month of exploration together. Got a little tickle from it. So I thought to just share with you what the invitation of Energetic Explorations for Evolution is. So let me just pull that up here. So it's to participate in a community of heart-centered beings committed to intentionally navigating a world in transition, to explore a monthly theme for living in an evolving world with resources and tools to help you navigate change and evolution, to engage in conversations about letting go, opening to the new, and navigating the in-between, cultivating connection and compassion in ourselves, others, and the world, experiencing the embodiment of life as an alchemical process, recognizing and acknowledging that we are connected to an unseen world that is an interactive force for presence in our daily lives, and embracing and demonstrating the interconnectedness of all creation. So that's the invitation that we hold overall, and that we hold each month as we offer these lives as a way to anchor into the monthly theme. And I just want to take note, one of us probably says this every time, but I just feel to say it as we're moving in now, that we structured this group around the astrological calendar because we felt like that is a way to really tune into universal energy and align our themes in a rhythmic way with nature and the changing seasons and energies that are present at different times throughout the year. But it's not, the group is not totally focused on astrology, although when you look at it, sometimes it seems that way, but it's really a way to just work with universal energy, with your own energy, the energies of nature. And many cultures around the world, their relationship with astrology had to do with what was happening in the natural world and the shifts and changes around the seasons and the elements of nature. So that's part of why we chose to anchor in that way. But we always just invite you to be curious, to tune in, and just see what speaks to you. So, so that's a little bit about our group. Anything you want to add, Andrea, before I go into Virgo?
No, I think that's great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good. Okay. So again, thinking about if you've heard about Virgos or the energy of Virgo, it's a lot about being practical and sensible, maybe that perfectionist, which can seem beneficial in some ways and frustrating in other ways. But that's really, in a way, it's an aspect, but kind of a little bit of a surface description. So thinking or looking, we had shared the, oh, I didn't stop share, so we're still looking at the image. Excellent. You'll notice the image of Virgo on the left is the traditionally associated with the Virgin, and so that's, or the maiden. The element is the earth. It's a mutable mode, and the planet ruling it's Mercury. And there's some archetypes associated with it: the servant, the martyr, the perfectionist, and the analyst are main ones. It's also known as the ruler of the harvest. I'm going to stop the share now. And so thinking about, we're getting to the end of summer and entering into fall. And so in a lot of traditions, this time of year is associated with the harvest season and reaping what we've sowed. That energy of abundance is associated with it. And so it makes sense that like productivity is a part of that and connected to Virgo. And I'd like to say, and I've, in a lot of studies and reading I always hear people say, well, it's a little confusing that that Virgo is associated with the Virgin, and that because that can be kind of thought of in a way that doesn't really hold its full essence. You might think about maybe inexperience or naivete of not having experience. But one thing I read about it was that it's about a purity of energy, and we're really all about energy here. So, and in that, really being attuned to our own energy in a way that we're not influenced by other people's drama or the energies around us, so that we can really tune into our own sense of soul purpose in a deep and powerful way. And then that is what can drive our actions and our direction in the world. And there's a lot of energy around action and movement and striving with Virgo. So just wanted to touch on that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, just briefly, I'll touch on this too. We've talked about this, if not every month, we've been starting to tune into it more. And that is that, with each shift of signs and seasons, perhaps, there's a shift energetically between expansiveness and contraction. We might think of this as yang energy moving out and upward, and yin energy moving in and downward. And so Leo, last month, Leo's fire energy was very expansive. And now Virgo's inviting us back down to the earth. So that's, that's just, these are an example of tuning into the energies and the natural rhythms, which are a part of life. And particularly because we live, most of us, I would say, in modern cultures where I guess I'll just say it, like expansiveness, moving out in the world, taking action, is sort of prized. And, going inward, slowing down, rest, is not always so prized. It's thought of as, yes, we know we need it. And yet, do we make enough time for it? And do we consider it a part of our natural process? And so just to think about that as we move into Virgo. So, so I mentioned the perfectionist a little bit, and that again is an archetype very much associated with Virgo. As a recovering perfectionist, I can say I really relate to that. And so it can be a time to just be in tune with that in terms of the inner critic, and maybe working to transform your inner critic into an inner ally, which is something we touched on in Leo, and we will come back to again and again in different ways. But just to be in tune with that perfectionist energy. The motivation, I believe, in Virgo comes from striving, from wanting to do the best. Talk a little bit more about wanting to be of service, and yet there needs to be a balance with that. So just in saying that, it can be a good time to, in terms of thinking about the shadow patterns or things, that are maybe things you need to work on in an inner way, that self-criticism, self-doubt, maybe negativity, can be feeling stuck, can be a part of that aspects that you might want to work on. And Stephen Forrest, who's an evolutionary astrologer, he has a quote about Virgo. It says, and he says, the virgin self-criticism must be tempered by absolute self-acceptance. The virgin self-criticism must be tempered by absolute self-acceptance. So, so once again, this theme has come up about loving ourselves. And then here, thinking about Virgo, loving ourselves as we are now. There's always this thought we need to do more, do better, do perfectly. But what about as we are now? Yes, we want to do all those things, and but do we need the next class, the new job, a better workout program, or are we perfect as we are? So that's something to explore. And also, what is the desire? Where's that desire coming from to do? Is it coming from the ego? Is it coming from the mind? Or is it coming from our heart and our soul calling? The analyst was another archetype, and I just wanted to touch on that briefly because, Virgo is often analyzing. We use the word in our theme of discernment. And so I think that can encompass sort of some different things, but to just really, as you're going through your experiences or thinking about things that you're doing or want to be doing, to take time to tune into that and see how they resonate. Again, not just with your mind, but with your soul purpose. So, and we'll do a meditation in a little bit to explore that more. And then the servant, which our theme again is harvesting, aspiration, discernment, and service. And service is definitely a major aspect or major driver of Virgo energy. I would say ultimately it's how we express ourselves under this sign. And it's not always about serving others. There's I would say, what we might call the principle of service itself. And that can be how we engage and embody our soul purpose in the world. So anything can be of service. Anything we do, by connecting, by being mindful, practicing gratitude, by opening our hearts. It can be doing the dishes. Often, we hear mindfulness teachers say, be mindful, while you're cooking and while you're sweeping. And so really, in a way, that presence, bringing our full self and our essence forward, is a form of service and in creating connection that we are engaging on a deeper level. So sacrifice is sometimes something people think about in terms of service, and it's important to remember that it's really not healthy to sacrifice ourselves, because we can't pour from an empty cup. We need to keep our own well, our own soul and body energy nourished to be of service. And that service can take many forms. It doesn't necessarily have to be an outer action. It can be a practice we do, such as, gratitude or loving kindness. And it can be the energy that we bring, to each step and each breath that we take. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Andrea to share a bit of her thoughts about Virgo and anything else that's coming up.
Thanks, Beth. I'm always inspired when you share about it, even though we've had a conversation about Virgo and have, it's almost like we finish this Facebook Live and we start to turn our attention almost to the next season and let it marinate and percolate in us. And I always take notes when you're speaking, because it just brings it in even deeper. Something I want to share with everyone, first of all, that yes, this Facebook Live is and the theme and is a container that has astrology, nature, the seasons. And when Beth and I are starting to talk about choosing the theme, part of what we're doing is also looking at how is this showing up in our lives, or how is this theme, or how is the energy of Virgo showing up in our lives, or how is it showing up in the world? And so that's how, there's a process that we resonate with the words. And so I want to, I really want to talk about the process of creativity, because Virgo to me brings in this part about the details or the structure, or what is it that we need. And I'll just do a little I don't know, is it a public service announcement or whatever, that every year I do an annual group for women called the Incubator. It's an online co-working space for women cultural creatives. And the whole intention of that is to have a space to work on creativity projects, which sometimes the creativity project is ourselves. It's not a book or a blog or music or whatever. But something that I've learned over the years of being a writer is that, or a creator, is that we need structure and we need flow. And both are important elements when you are creating. And Virgo can bring us into wanting to jump into editing, for instance, before allowing for the creative flow. And so if you're someone who wants to create something, to think about a structure. So a structure for a writer could be a Word document, or an app on your phone where you record ideas through your voice, a voice memo type of a thing. It can be a journal that can hold something that you want to express through writing, through putting the words down. It's not about go in and edit first. It's about create the structure that's going to hold your words, and then let yourself flow. Just let the flow come. And then if it's something that you're working on, a blog, a book, a newsletter, then you go back after you've had that creative flow and start to edit and fine tune it. And Virgo is just beautiful for that time of review. And I think right now, being in Mercury retrograde at the same time there's Virgo, it is a good time to go back in and maybe even edit your goals around your creativity, to do some reflecting about what do you want to create during this next year. Perfectionism is one of the things that can stop a creative flow of ideas. So just, I wanted to presence this importance when you're creating something. And a container, for instance, for a painter could be a canvas. And then you are creating the art on the canvas, but there's something to take what you want to creatively express and having a place to put it, to hold it, to have that structure. And yeah, so when I think of Virgo, that's one of the things. The other thing I want to say about writing also is to recognize that divine timing and having support is also part of it. So I've just been really thinking about it as I get ready for the incubator, as to what is it as creative people that we need in terms of support. Now, support can be a buddy. It can be a writing group or some kind of creativity group. It can be a place where you want to talk about your art. It can be with a coach. So to just realize that it's multifaceted to be a creative person and to want to express something in the world. And it could be expression for yourself, or it could be that you have a message to get out into the world. Let's see if there was anything else I wanted to say about that. Yeah, and the divine timing. Just recently, Sabine Cruz, who has been in the incubator since 2018, published a book about sacred geometry. And when I look at that, it was really a 9-year process of her receiving downloads about sacred geometry, her doing the practices herself. These are the detail-oriented things. It's not just sit down and then, boom, I've got my book in 9 weeks. I mean, I'm sure people can do that, but it's a different kind of book. Many times the book is over time. You are developing something within yourself. You're turning your attention to a subject that you want to express, an idea, a vision that you have, and to give it the kind of time that it takes. That's, to me, another Virgo energy, is that Virgo does go in and works with the ideas, the visions that we have, to bring it into some kind of expression. And whether or not you share your writing or any kind of creative process outside of your own private studio place, there's something that you are becoming in the process. And I think that's another Virgo opportunity, is the self-reflection, the creative process that you do for yourself also creates I don't know, the word shinier is coming, the shinier person, or it helps to bring clarity, so that, and that's part of the discernment that we had there. It helps you to discern. It helps you to bring that part of you into the world where you can be of service to others. So yeah, I'm going to leave it with that, and not, and to just recognize that Beth and I are, wanted to create this group because we saw a need in the world to talk about these kinds of topics, and to bring it out as a, just to stir something every month for all of us to be thinking about, because we are at a time where we're ushering in a new world. And that's going to mean looking at the details, letting go of some things that no longer serve us, being creative with what it is that we want to, what is the world that you want to live in? What is the world that you want to see? And what are some steps that you can take in your personal life to activate that, to bring that in? So I will post in the comment sections the link to the incubator if anyone is interested in that. No pressure. We're here to offer ideas. So I feel complete with that.
Thanks, Andrea.
Mm-hmm.
I was towards the end when you were talking about that idea of the, I don't know, kind of shining, shinier you, I guess, that reminded me, and the creativity. I was thinking, I mean, again, like, we're in that transition from Leo, which was very much about that creativity and almost like expanding or shining our light out, like as far as we could go, and then there's a point where we have to begin to return to ourselves, and like sort of, that's where the there's maybe different words we can use. Filtration kind of comes through of then how are we going to kind of integrate that and carry it, into our service, in the world in a new way, or a deeper way, maybe going deeper too. So anyway, just was feeling that as you were talking. So I love it. So wanted to offer a meditation to just kind of help tune and anchor in a little more to the Virgo season energy. And yeah, let's do that. And then we'll each share a few more thoughts and wrap up. So So I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable position wherever you are, feeling the earth beneath your feet, your body on your chair or seat, feeling rooted in the moment. You may wish to close your eyes or just have a soft gaze on the floor in front of you. We'll be doing a little bit of visualization. So if you're comfortable closing your eyes, that's probably best, but do what works for you. And then we'll begin with a few deeper breaths, breathing in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 4. Just letting your body and your mind just come into this moment. Begin to slow down, to unwind. Just letting any busyness or thoughts or worries of the day just move out with the next few breaths. It's like a cloud passing by in the sky. You notice them and they simply drift away. As we begin to explore for this meditation, I invite you to set an intention for yourself for this month. It's Virgo season, this time of harvesting, aspiration, discernment, and service. Just take a moment. Set some intention for yourself. So now I'm going to invite you to think about something in your life or work, something that maybe you'll be working on this coming month, or something you'll be doing. And if you prefer, it can be something that you'd like to be doing, maybe that you aspire to do. It may be something that you feel you're harvesting now from seeds that you planted in the spring or early summer or earlier this year. Or maybe even something you wanted to that feels like it hasn't kind of germinated or grown or manifested yet. But really think about or see yourself doing of a specific thing or being in a specific situation that you know you'll be engaging in this month. And then notice just how it feels to be doing that thing. Maybe notice your environment, the space you're in, who you're engaging with. Just notice how that feels. Take a moment to tune into any sensations in your body, your mind, your emotion, and your spirit. And really envision yourself moving mindfully through this experience. Mindfully means being in the present moment non-judgmentally. Just moving mindfully through this experience. See yourself, noticing what you're doing, what you're feeling. Perhaps what needs to be done. Notice if you can do it with a loving presence. You may notice some critical or perfectionist voices arise. And if so, attend to them with love and compassion. You don't need to push them away. As Rumi says, just greet each as a guide from beyond. Let them know that you're here doing what needs to be done, that your seeds have been growing, and that it's okay to move with ease and grace at this time. And whether what you're doing feels of benefit to yourself or to others or both, I invite you to now, as you just continue to envision yourself in this action, this activity of just being of service with each movement, with each step and each breath, each thing that you do that's connected to this work or service. Just really feel yourself being willing to be mindful and present in what you're doing, knowing it's a form of service to yourself, to others, and the world. And it's that intention that will guide you in your steps forward. Now I invite you to drop your energy and awareness down into your heart center, right in the center of your chest, the center of love, compassion, kindness, gentleness for yourself and for others. And just really, as you bring your awareness and energy there, breathe into the center of your heart, into the heart of your heart, into that deep, still place that exists within your heart. And from that place, I invite you to call on the guidance of the inner wisdom of your heart. Ask it to help you to open more deeply to your soul purpose at this time. Ask it what it can show you right now that opens you to greater alignment. And as you open, this may come as a word, an image, a symbol, a feeling, or you may just be creating the invitation and it will come later. Allow your inner wisdom of your heart to help you to open more deeply to your soul purpose. and alignment in this moment. And continuing to hold your attention in the heart, I invite you now to bring your focus of your meditation, of the thing that you will be working on or attending to this month. Imagine bringing that into your heart center. Perhaps that whole vision of you moving through it, hold it in the center of your heart, in the heart of your heart. And notice how that feels. You may wish to ask for guidance around it, or simply hold it in the space of your heart to energize and nurture it. Remember, service is not only about action or thought. It is a spiritual path that begins and ends in the heart and soul of your being. And you can always come back to this space of the heart. So now I invite you to let all of the imagery go. Once again, take some deeper breaths, feeling the rise and fall of your chest. You might want to move your hands and feet or body. And in your own timing, I invite you to come back to this moment. And for those watching the recording, you may want to pause and write some journal or write some notes about your intention, about what you experienced, or any guidance you received. And this is a practice I think you may want to come back to throughout the month as you're going through different experiences, even maybe before you're preparing to do something. If you feel that energy of, sort of striving, it's a way you can tune in and get clarity and energize it in a heart-centered way. So I'm going to just check in with Andrea. Anything that you'd like to share, or any other thoughts at this point?
I wanted to say thank you for the meditation, and I had already been thinking, I'm going to come back and do this a couple of times. So I'm glad that you suggested that to everyone, and yeah, to tune in to how the energy shows up for you this month. There may be other words that come up. So this is a foundation that we're beginning with, and the meditation can also help with that. Discern what
Right.
is
Yeah.
yours to do, and be of service in the way that is yours to be.
Yeah, definitely. And and that meditation just kind of came in this morning, so I was excited. But that, I think that's part of when we, again, have the intention of our energetic explorations for evolution group. It's like when we say the word discerning or even analyzing, it's like, well, how do we do that? Is it a mental process, or is it an emotional process? And so there's different ways to do that. And I think that's part of the invitation this month. And it's different for each person, too. So it's part of getting to know your own, I guess, I like to say, energetic or inner guidance system. So yeah, but that's part of could be the kind of creative, fun part of the exploration this month too, definitely.
Structure and flow anywhere in your
Right.
life. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beth. I am complete.
Okay, great. Well, once again, thanks for joining us, everyone. We will be posting the recording in the community Facebook group. And well, I guess it's live, so it's there. Forget. And then we'll be each sharing on our YouTube channel. So if you're tuning in there, we invite you to join us in the Facebook community group. We'll share a link there as well. And we'll be sharing some journaling prompts and check-ins throughout the month. And I wanted to close with a quote. It's another quote by Stephen Forrest. And yeah, it really relates to our theme. I read it a couple of times. And so anyway, it must have influenced in some way our theme, I think. But Andrea and I always, we take some time and we brainstorm ideas and words and things. So we never know where it's going to land until a few days before we're actually right when the season starts. So, but I love this one. I think it sums it up really well. He said, "To perfect the self through relentless idealism, humble self-assessment, and an unyielding desire to offer a gift to the world. That is Virgo's strategy." So it has the aspiration, discernment, and service wrapped in there. So I love it. I'll share that in a Facebook group too.
Great.
So, okay, well, thanks everybody. It's been great to explore with you. And, as always, share your experiences, reflections, and comments in the community group or even on our YouTubes. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.